Hey, Professor Corey, this is Dan Triplett. Going to show some stuff. This looks super simple compared to what I've been showing, but it's actually really cool because, like in Maya, when you make a cylinder, you have to, you create it and you have to change stuff, and then you go ahead and eventually delete the history. Well, with this, I basically can forever. It's like a little machine that will change my cylinder. For instance, if I want more divisions, I can go ahead and just up the divisions. I can go ahead and add segments into it. I can add, obviously the length. I can just go ahead and increase the length. And all of these things are going to stay there. And then in another segment coming up next, I'll show you what this is going to build. Alright, so in this section, I'm going to show the same thing that I just did with that cylinder, except for now I've done it with a tube. So it's interesting, I'm using points to create a whole bunch of points in a circular pattern, and then I have this node called resample. So I can go ahead and, make as many points as I want. Of course it breaks if you put it to 0. But I can go ahead and turn it up nice and smooth. And then I have this grid here, and I actually just have a grid which is basically a plane. And I have that following with a sweep around this object, and then I can go ahead and tell it to output a skin. So what it'll do is actually connect all the grid pieces together and get rid of the individual pieces, but actually output a skin. Let me hide that. So, and then what I'm going to do to add some details to the model is I've actually got this copy node, which basically is kind of like making a duplicate. And what I can do with this is I've actually got in the X and Y scale, I'm going to use the X scale to drive the Y scale. So I have a piece of script in here that will cause whatever I do to the X scale to just happen to this. So basically this channel is looking at this channel. So now if I go ahead and say, okay, I want to decrease the size of this. Actually, let's up the copies. So if I want to go like this, actually let's do this, and then we can up the copies. Let's turn off the wireframe. Actually, let's go down to here. There we go. So now, like, to add a lot of detail really, really fast, all I have to do is, I can play around with this thing and start adding all these concentric circles really quickly. It's really easy to, mess around with this. And I can promote these parameters up into a tool if I wanted to. So, for instance, if I wanted to take this into Unreal, I can do something like that. And I'll show that in a later segment coming up soon. All right, getting closer to the end. This is a very complex piece that's built off of the side of this engine piece. What's cool about some of the parts is like instead of having to redo the operation over and over again, I just basically copied the operation and then pasted it back in on top of designated groups, so that the I didn't have to take all the time to redo it, although you have to set up the thing in the first place, so it does take some time.